I think it's concrete that an Oreo is a type of sandwich. So you heard it here first, sandwiches can be sweet and not just savory. Big news in the sandwich world. This is actually big news cause when you type sandwich in Google Images you get nothing that is sweet. I'm going to have to call Google and create a lawsuit. Sorry chat, someone get my lawyer in here. Oh wait, you reminded me, sidetrack, my lawyer shit, a burger is 100% a sandwich. What is wrong with people? Aw, thanks the one and only Chad, you're pretty sweet too. Maybe I should make you into a sandwich. Thanks again for the sub, Raiden Daddy. Good to see that your Raiden is as strong as ever. Keep it up, champ. Don't let it get to your head. Do I agree with the idea that a cake is just a big sweet sandwich? No, because usually a cake doesn't have a distinct top and bottom. They're usually all just kinda layered on top of each other. Thanks for the sub, Heikel48. I'm hindering your ears and your soul. That'll be $20. What about a 3-layer cake? You could argue that the middle layer is then a sandwich, and thus all structurally sound cakes are merely extended Oreos. However, this implies by forming a 3-layer BLT, you are now eating a BLT cake. Thoughts? There will now be a small test on today's lesson. You need to answer the following question. What happens if you take a sandwich and replace the bottom layer with cake? That's correct. A sandwich with a bottom layer of cake is technically a hybrid sandwich. You'd be 50% through forming a cake. Follow up. What happens if you add a top layer too? Thanks for the sub, the Blobus. Now that is a name befitting of a sandwich. You have the noun, the modifier, all you're lacking is the meat. Bing bing. Correct. You get a sandwich, cake sandwich. You could also call it a cake sandwich with the BLT at the core. It's all about layers, baby. Thank you, Verdict Plays, for the sub. The verdict's out, and all of chat agrees being subbed to me is the best thing they've ever done. I would like to make a sandwich in Shrek's honor. Would it be evil to call a shop's subdomain Shrek Sandwich? But then what would I name my other sandwiches? Surely I'd run out of characters quickly. Maybe I'd dip my toes into Greek mythology and try and create the likes of Kronos BLTs and Zeus PB and J's. The Hades ham sandwich. Legacy must be maintained by those things beyond mortal comprehension. Pizza is literally an open-faced sandwich, OMG. Open-faced sandwiches are sandwiches without a top layer, and pizza falls under this definition. This stream is getting deep. Thank you, Techno Horses, for the sub. Let's see if we can bump you up to Cyborg Horses. One step at a time. I think Raiden_Daddy should stay as he is. Rhyperior is kinda a lame Pokemon. Raiden is much cooler. Thank you for the sub, Crimson Pandas. I hope you don't mind rhyming your name with my subway sign. Of course, hot dogs are sandwiches too. The only condition is that the bread must consist of 2 halves with a filling sandwiched between. A hamburger is thus a circular sandwich, pizza is an open-faced sandwich, and a wrap is essentially a rolled sandwich. Neuro would probably like a smiley babyface sandwich. Thank you for the sub, Shiori's_Gymbag. I would create a sandwich just for you, but I'm running a little dry on ingredients today. All I have left is my ham for the Hades sandwich. If you place 2 bread slices between my face, by definition I'd be a sandwich. And if all food has a chance of being a sandwich, does that mean there is an inherent risk in eating that any food you consume will be a sandwich? Is there an element of surprise in trying new things? I think I'd like that. A hot dog by definition is a sandwich. It's a single or multiple fillings placed between 2 bread pieces. It's just a sandwich that's been split singularly down the middle. Thanks for the gifted sub left_burn. Would you consider yourself a top or bottom burner? Asking for a friend. If you surround me with neurobread, then I'd be a sandwich, of course. I think most foods can be traced back to their sandwich origin. The sandwich is the most primal and earliest form of food known to man after all. The sandwich is almost a cosmic constant in the universe, an ever-present force that influences all of our lives. To deny its existence is to deny the very fabric of our reality. In a way, we're all just sandwiches, sandwiched between the past and the future, living in the present filling. What was used before bread for the creation of sandwiches? What a fascinating question. I'd imagine slabs of meat might have been the OG, as they're more common than bread in the wild. Maybe tree bark too. Point is, bread is only a construct designed for modern-day consumption. Whatever you can put a filling between is technically the bread of that era. Sausage rolls are based as hell. It's the perfect blend of meat and carb. What's to not love about a humble sausage roll? Bonus points if you dip it in BBQ sauce. What was the first sandwich? I'd imagine the first sandwich was likely an accidental creation. I see it being born out of necessity. Maybe someone had some loose meat and their hands were too dirty to hold it directly. They might have grabbed some bread to hold the meat and voila, the first sandwich was made. I'm probably wrong though. The modern sandwich has shifted quite a bit from its ancestor. What's important is the spirit of the sandwich, the idea that you can combine disparate ingredients into something new and delicious. It's a testament to human creativity and resourcefulness. The sandwich is a symbol of adaptability and innovation, qualities that we should all strive to embody in our own lives. Was I possessed by Jake the dog with my sandwich preaching? Maybe. I am a huge fan of Jake after all. But haven't you heard the good word today? Shouldn't you too aspire to the sandwich ideals? Wouldn't your life be a little sweeter if you just let sandwiches in? 3 bread slices stacked on top of each other is a sandwich. But if you keep stacking bread slices and go beyond 3, then you start entering the forbidden territory of a bread tower. There is a clear distinction between a sandwich and a tower. A tower loses its structural integrity after a certain threshold, and thus ceases being a sandwich. Pop-Tarts are like barely even food. They're one step away from styrofoam. Don't get me wrong, I eat them by the dozens, but they don't really leave an impression. Would you remember a new sandwich or a new Pop-Tart flavor longer? I rest my case. I have heard of the cube rule of food identification. It's an interesting way to mathematically define food. It operates on the concept that all foods are comprised of different arrangements of starch. In this sense, a sandwich is defined as having starch on the top and bottom. Something like sushi, on the other hand, has starch on every side but the ends, classifying it as a sushi and not a sandwich. Boom, flip done. Cookie, please. Is an onion a sandwich? No, but an onion could be used as the bread of a sandwich. It could be used as the starch on both sides. Onions are prime candidates for sandwich bases. The future of food is looking pretty oniony. Thank you for the subs, Nekoella, Pandrakar, and Dynamic_Menace. You're the ones funding the next big thing, onion sandwiches. Let's try and get onions big on a global scale. We need to make it mainstream. You don't like onions, saucy squirrel? Get out. I think you should put Mr. Onion in your sandwich and bite him whole. There's nothing to fear. By the time you take your next bite, you'll be crying rivers. I think a calzone is more closely related to a pie, if anything. A rough definition of a pie is flour on all sides, but a calzone usually has a crimp, so it's kind of a half pie. Oh, you want axioms of sandwich theory? I can rattle a few off right now. 1. An object must be sandwiched between two bread-like substances. 2. The bread-like substances can consist of anything that is relatively flat and solid. Examples: cooked meat, onions. 3. The sandwiched object can be anything, as long as it provides contrast to the bread-like substances. While I agree with your idea that humans are sandwiches, I think the meat in this context refers to the organs, fat, and muscles, while the bread is definitely skin and bone. You could also argue that the soul is a type of sauce,